Morning everyone, welcome back to your next instalment of what's happening in this awesome book by Jim Collins, Good to Great. For those of you who haven't seen any of the previous videos, where have you been? We have done so much so far. Don't worry, I'm going to give you a quick review, but you can also go back and look at all the other videos, which hopefully you will see a link to on either LinkedIn if you're looking at this video on there, or Facebook. If you can't find them, just get in touch with me via LinkedIn and I will send them to you directly. So what have we done so far? We've looked at the importance of what we call a level 5 leader. These are leaders that don't lead through their own ego. They make decisions for the greater good. They are humble. They want to do things for the right reason with people, not in spite of people. So this is how we describe the level 5 leader. There are lots of characteristics, behaviours that sit underneath all of that, and if you'd like to look into that a bit more and find out what that really looks like and how good you already are or what development you might need, please get in touch because there's some really great work we can do together on that. So first of all, level 5 leaders. We then look at getting the right people on the bus and helping people who are not going to be right for the organisation get off the bus and do it quickly, so make decisions quickly. There's then a bit around asking questions, so the level 5 leader needs to ask some really hard questions to everybody from any part of the organisation, understand what's going on, what the issues are, facing those real, what we describe as the ugly truths within the organisations, and being prepared to do something about it. Because if you ask the questions and then don't act on it, people aren't going to give you honest answers anymore. The next thing that happens is what we talked about in the last video, or what I talked about in the last video, is the hedgehog concept. So this was about finding a strategy that would help your organisation go from good to great, and that involved 3 things. The first one was, what am I passionate about? What do I absolutely love doing? What can I be really excited about? Because if you can't be excited about it, the rest of your organisation can't be either. And that's where you often see things falling down, is that people at the top aren't inspired and the lack of inspiration flows throughout the rest of the organisation. Greatness isn't going to happen then. Second thing is, what can we be best at? So, and it may not be what you're currently doing. You may need to drop what you're currently doing and do something different instead. Hopefully it's linked to your business, but it might not be. So be prepared for that. Some of the good to great leaders made some very radical decisions, and what was currently their core business, they canned it because it was never going to be the thing that they could be great at, and they definitely weren't passionate about it. And the third thing is, how is this going to fit with us from an economic point of view? Can we make money out of it, and can we measure our success accordingly? So if you've got those 3 things right, and that's not easy because it takes a lot of thought and questions and understanding to be able to do that, but once you've got that right, you've got your hedgehog concept, and everything else seems to flow from there. So that's a summary of what we've done so far. Now what we're looking at is the culture of the organisation. So how do we make sure that everybody involved in the organisation behaves the right way that's going to help us develop this great organisation over a sustained period of time, so not just a flash in the pan, but forever. So what does it take? We know about level 5 leaders. We may not fully understand what that means yet, but there are ways to understand that. Please get in touch, read the book, do whatever you need to do, but please understand that first. What it really takes is really disciplined people. So not just a disciplined leader, but disciplined people throughout the whole organisation. So we talk about getting the right people on the bus first, and those people have to be able to demonstrate that they have self-discipline. They want to do things right for everybody. They want to be successful. They want the organisation to be successful. First, people, right people. They have disciplined thought. They don't just jump into action. They don't just see something shiny, bright and new and think, oh, I want to go off and do that, or my organisation or my team should go and do that because everyone else is doing it. They look first at the hedgehog concept and think, how does this fit in? How will this help us be great? How will this help us be number one, keep our passion going and make money? And then they take considered and disciplined action. And they keep repeating this process. They don't just do it once. They review, they see how things have gone. If it hasn't worked, they go back to the drawing board and start again. But everything is done not in a fast, furious way. It's done in a very methodical, processed, thoughtful, considered and disciplined way. So when you start getting people doing that throughout the whole organisation, all in line with the hedgehog concept, that's when culture that you want, the great culture, starts to happen. Because that has an impact on people. They start to see success, which is great, and that then has a knock-on effect to people wanting to do this more and more. It makes people happy. So once you've got this right, once people understand what they're trying to do, so they're working within a framework, that's the strategy, and they can be disciplined and they can make good decisions and they can do good actions, results start to happen, and this has a knock-on effect to people's desire to keep going and get more excited about what is possible. So you do have a framework. This isn't that it's just all free and easy and you can do what you want. There is a framework to work within, which is your hedgehog concept, but there is a freedom to make decisions and show your flair and your initiative and your own enthusiasm, your own way of doing things within that framework. It allows people to show what they're capable of. And yes, maybe they'll get it wrong, but they're not told off for getting it wrong. It's discussed, looked at, and the discussion is, how can you not do that wrong again? How can we do it better next time? That really motivates people. They are intrinsically motivated, and that's what makes organisations really successful and makes us personally successful as well. The comparison companies didn't do that. They didn't necessarily have a clear framework, so the hedgehog concept wasn't clear and concise. They didn't have a disciplined way of approaching it with the people, the thought, or the actions. And what they put in place was a hierarchy of leadership with all the perks and everything that they wanted, and sort of the titles and the money that went with it, and a load of bureaucracy to manage the people within the organisation, because they weren't the right people in the first place. So you don't need all of that if you've got the right people. And that really is the biggest difference. Once you put these in place, it stifles people. People are stopped from having good ideas. People are stopped from showing initiative, or they do it and then get told, yeah, that's nice, but now we'll do it the other way because that's the way the organisation is doing it. And that immediately has a negative impact on everybody. It has a negative impact on me as a human being, you as a human being. We start to feel devalued, and guess what happens? We're no longer happy, intrinsically motivated people. We probably still will work quite hard for a while, but eventually we'll probably leave, or we'll just go into a pit of despair and our productivity will go down. That does not create greatness. That does not create an organisation that has a great culture that allows people to thrive, demonstrate what they're good at, grow, develop, and create that organisation that we would all probably love to work within. Okay, so that's it for today. This is just about culture. If you feel that the culture of your organisation isn't great, look at the top, look at yourself first, look at what's going on, because I guarantee if you do something here, if you make some changes here, it'll start to filter through the organisation. It takes time, it takes guts, it takes energy, but it is possible, and I've seen it happen, and the transition is absolutely awesome, and it's a real pleasure to be involved in that process. Okay, so next week will be the last video, and that will be looking at pulling everything that I've talked about together and showing you what can happen, what is possible if you do this, and also what can happen if you don't. So that'll allow you to make some decisions on what to do, how to do it, when to do it. And if you need any support, obviously I'd be delighted to help you. So have a great week, everybody. Stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you all next week for the final instalment from me on the book Good to Great by Jim Collins.